All right, guys. So here's the question. Does net assets or net cash flow matter most? See, I've met so many people that like they have assets. They've got a lot of assets. I've met a lot of broke millionaires. And maybe you're one of them where you've got $1 million in assets. You've got a house or multiple houses or rental properties, but you're cash flow poor. Meaning, even though you got all these assets and on paper you look amazing. In fact, on paper, the banks want to lend more money to you because you look so good. But when it comes to day, month to month cash flow, you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck. See, I believe you got to have both. I believe you want to have some net assets. You want to have some assets here. You want to be building wealth into the future. But cash flow truly is king, right? Because I can have all the net assets that I want. I can have multiple rental properties or I can have $1 million investment portfolio. But if I'm cash flow poor, I'm not living life today. I'm not doing amazing today. And although the idea is, yeah, we want to be doing great in, 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road at retirement, we want to do well. And I want to do well into retirement as well. I want to do well now as well. I want to do great now. I don't want to have to like sacrifice for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, save every dollar into retirement just so that in 40 years, when I get there, I could have fun then. I mean, sure, they'll be awesome, but it's like I could potentially be old and stiff and wrinkly and sore and not want to move. And there could be a lot of things that could happen between now and then that maybe cause retirement not to be awesome. Now, I hope it is. I hope it's amazing. I don't want to have to go back and be a Walmart greeter because I need money. If I'm going to greet at Walmart, it's because I want to go greet people and just have fun. But I also want to do that now. Like I got 4 kids, and my oldest is about to turn 12 in like a week and a half here, and I don't want to have to like miss their lives because I've been trying to hustle, 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 build, and I completely miss their childhood. Only to when I get to my retirement and their adulthood, then things are good. I want to be around now. I want to be a part of the things now. I want to have fun now. Doesn't mean we don't work. Doesn't mean we don't hustle. But I've come to the conclusion that cash flow trumps your assets. Cash flow every month is king. And if you can have cash flow and build assets, like let's talk about both sides are great, not one or the other. But I know so many people that have great net assets. Millionaires on paper can't scratch 2 pennies together if their life depended on it in the real world. Like struggling to get groceries. But millionaire or multimillionaire on paper. I don't care if you're a millionaire on paper. If you can't scratch 2 pennies together to go get groceries or to have fun or to go to a movie, you're not doing it right. Right. And so I want to take you guys through, man, one of my favorite net like cash flow positive strategies. It's also a wealth building strategy if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be one-sided. And that's what bugs me so much about so much investing out there is it seems to be one-sided. Like you go and borrow 300K to go get a rental property to get renters in there to make $200 a month or to make $300 a month. Like to me, that's not freedom. And yeah, you can make it on the growth of the home and all that stuff, but that takes years if you ever get there. Meanwhile, you got to deal with broken furnaces. You got to deal with professional renters. Hopefully, you never fall into that. But I've heard horror stories. I've seen horror stories. I personally have not experienced it, but I've worked with clients who have experienced horror stories of professional renters, and their cash flow has gone to zero because they got a professional renter, and it takes just forever to get them out. There's a better way, and there's a way you can build wealth today. Like you can start building wealth right now, and as well as getting that cash flow. I remember. So let me show you one account here. Now this is a 30. This started out as a $36,000 account. Okay, it's a small account that I'm managing right now, but let me show you this account just to give you some perspective here. This is one of my passive passive income, monthly cash flow strategies. So we're selling puts in this one. I just made 145 bucks. Now, this wasn't this week. This was since yesterday. I put this on yesterday. So since yesterday, roughly about 9 a.m. So we're about 25 hours into this. No, sorry, 27 hours into this because the markets are about to close. Actually, no, the market's just closed. Um, since yesterday, up $145. And what the cool part is on Monday, and maybe you can see it here. Hold on. Oh, you're not going to see the bot. It's okay. On July 7th. Oh, no, you will. There it is right there. I sold 9 contracts at 19 cents or $19. It was really $19 a contract. And so on Monday, let me just go grab my calculator here. When I did this on Monday, I had 9 because I was able to buy 9 of these. Nine at $19. So you do the math there. That's $171. Yesterday, I was up about 160-ish. I said, I'm going to close out that contract and I'm going to put another one on that's going to make me 140, $145. So this week, using 36, well, I'm at 38,000 now, but we were up, we started at 36. Um, we grew an account to 300 and we grew $316. Now that might not seem like a lot. That might seem like $316. That's it for the week. That's really small. Compare that though to some other cash flow strategies you have out there, whether that's rental income. Keep in mind, if you make $1,000 a month, I have a buddy who made $1,000 this month in his rental properties. Out of that, he had to pay his rental company a percentage. He had property tax he had to put aside. He had, I believe, he had some utilities he had to pay out of that. And at the end of the day, he walked this month with like $300. He got $1,000 in rent, walked after all his expenses and fees and taxes and all that stuff. He walked away with $300. I can tell you this: he did not invest $38,000 into that rental property. He invested over $100,000 in a rental property. We're talking taking $38,000 and made $300 this week. But here's the cool part: we'll do it again next week, and the week after, and the week after that. Grand total about $1,260 for the month. Not bad. Now, will we do that every single week at that amount? Maybe not. Some weeks we'll do more, some weeks we'll do a little bit less. But what I love about this is this cash isn't even in the stock market. This cash is just sitting in my account earning interest. Now, I'll be honest, the interest is very little, like 2%. It's nothing, it's peanuts. But I get to because this cash is sitting in my account, what I get to do is I get to go and every week earn anywhere from like 2 to 4 to $500 off of this $38,000. And every week this grows, right? So that 38,000 changes every week. But you can see here, I sold on July 7th, bought them back yesterday. Sold at 19 cents, bought back at 4 cents, so $4 per contract, so $40. And then I resold them yesterday, July 10th at 8:14, so Mountain Time. And I was able to do this with 7, and I made $21 per contract. So 21 times 7, walked away with about 145. Okay. This is awesome. This is cool. Now think about this. That's on a $38,000 account. Well, what if we were to do this on a $40,000 account? That would turn cash flow from $1,200 to about $2,400 a month. What if we were to do this with a $120,000 account? Well, now you've just taken 1,200 times 3, and now you've got a $3,600 a month income stream. Most people will spend $300,000 to buy a rental property, to buy some sort of asset that's supposed to produce income for them, that barely produces income for them. With that same amount of money, you can actually make a lot of cash flow. Okay. So what I want to do, guys, is I want to show you what I'm going to get set up for next week. I'm going to go into my other account. It's a bigger account, has a little bit more money here. We're going to use that account to really get dialed in and get next week set up. And let's see what we can do cash flow wise next week. All right, all right. So let's dive in here, and here, let me share this account screen. It's a little different, a little bigger, so we're doing a little bit more in here. As you see, we've got quite a lot going here. We're holding some stuff. We've got some options going here, and I'm doing even what I call a poor man's wheel strategy, where I own the underlining. Actually, I don't even own the stock. I own the underlining option, and then I'm selling. Um, I'm selling call options against my option here. So even though my option this week didn't do very well, I made a little bit of money, nothing huge. Um, and this was a bit of a weird week, if I'm being honest. The passive income strategy that I do on the other accounts, I can do against my options. And so I only made about 116 bucks. Not a lot, but hey, I'm still making money on that little stuff. But what I really want to do here is I want to spend some time looking over a good setup for next week. And so one of the ones I'm looking at right now is Amazon. Um, really like Amazon. Look, another great week where they just grew. Come on, Amazon, just killing it. I love it. And I'm thinking of selling some puts against it actually to make some money. So the ATR tells me that this thing moves about 13 bucks or has the potential to move about 13 bucks a week, given that it's an average week. Or I should say this on an average week, it should move about $13. Now it doesn't tell me which direction it's going to move. However, because we are going to the downside here, I would expect roughly about 210 would kind of be. I mean, it closed today at 225, so maybe 210 would be really safe, like really, really, really safe. And if I get executed on Amazon, if I end up having to own the share, I don't mind buying it at 210, to be honest. I think that's a really good deal. So that's one that I'd be willing to look at here. So let's go back to my screen. We've got Amazon here. I am not looking at this week. We're looking at next week here. And if we go down to 210, I can make probably, as of today, now, obviously I won't be putting this on until Monday, so the numbers will be a touch different. I'll make about $18 per contract at 210. Okay. Now, with $1 million, we got about, I think we got roughly about $1 million here with $1 million account. Let's just go grab my calculator. I don't know why it continues to move to the wrong screen on me. But on $1 million account, give or take roughly, we'll find out here if we can use the full million. Divided by, what's my price here? 210. 210 divided by 100. I could buy probably about 47. I can sell 47 contracts at roughly 18 bucks. That's going to make me about $857 next week. Now, what's really cool about the strategy is, and this is exactly what I did this week, just because I'm committed to doing this Monday morning and I'm committed to making 857 bucks, doesn't mean that's all I have to make. If come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Amazon continues to move up, what I'll do is I'll actually buy back those contracts and I'll re-enter in at a closer to the money option because we only have a couple days left as of Wednesday or even Thursday morning. I can get a lot closer to the strike price. And by getting closer to the strike price, check this out. By getting closer to the strike price here, you can, yeah, by getting closer to the strike price here, you can make more money. So the strike price is right here, 222.50. Okay, is the strike price. The closer you get to the strike price, the more money you make. Look, 210. I'm at 18. It says 18 cents, but you got to times it by 100. That's how you get your dollar value amount. So $18. But if I go to 220, I make a dollar 14. So $114 per share, which give me one second. I'm just going to reverse engineer at 47 because I could sell 47 shares at 47 shares at $114 per share. That's $5,428. So that's the difference. The closer to the money you get, the closer to the strike price you get here, the more you're going to make. Now, I don't necessarily know that I want to buy $1 million worth of Amazon. That's why I go further out. That's why I'm really a lot more conservative. But come Wednesday, if we do move up more and I am in the green, I will sell my shares, my 210s, and I might get closer to the money to get some better value. I might go, the 217s or the 220s, or, if Amazon moves up to 225 by next week, let's call it Wednesday, Thursday, I might go to the 220 and I won't own it by next Thursday. I won't be able to make $1.14, but I will be able to make 50 cents, 40 cents, and I could double my returns next week from 857 to $1,600 in 1 week. Okay. Now, normally I would get a little bit closer to the money, but There's a couple, yeah, there's a few things that have me kind of just like more cautious. And one of them is this right here. If you pull up see if I have it on here. I might not have it on. Okay, let's go find it. The S&P 500. Okay, so the SPY. And I go to the day here. Actually, you can see it on the weekly too. I'll go back to the weekly. We're hitting this resistance zone on the S&P 500, and we're hitting it on the QQQ as well. Um, right here, you can see it right there. We've hit that zone twice. We hit it last week and had a little pullback. We hit it this week and had a bigger pullback. This week has almost done nothing for us growth wise. And because we've hit that zone, I am a little cautious that we are going to have potentially another pullback into next week. And so that's why I'm going a little further out. That's why I'm taking a little less money. I'm taking a little less risk, and I'll take a little bit less money. The week we break above this, which I'm thinking is going to happen sooner than later, I will get super close to the money and continue to ride it up. And that's where we'll have, our thousand, 1,500, 2,000, $3,000 weeks. But because we've kind of had 2 weeks at this top zone here, I do wonder if the markets are, just getting a little fatigued. I don't think this will be fatigued for long. We've had a really good run. I mean, from our bottoms in April, look at this to the top. Boom. 20, what's that? 27% on the SPY, probably 35% on the Qs. Like in a month and a half, we've ran really nicely. And if you got in down here, you've done really good, right? So I think we're just taking a bit of a breather, which is why I'm going a little bit more conservative and what I'm going to pick and put on the board. However, my goal is to make some passive income. And if you're following, the goal is hopefully for you to make some passive income. So there's Amazon. Let me just delete all of these. These are this week. So let me go get Amazon again. I'm going to put them on. That's one of my strategies that I'm looking at is Amazon. Um, there it is. There's Amazon. Let's go grab the 210 put, and we're going to consider selling that on Monday. The next one I'm looking at here has been, and this has been really good for me, is NVDA. Now they've hit all-time highs, $4 trillion company, the biggest company in the stock market. Man, those guys are killing it, kicking butt, taking names, chewing bubblegum. And so they might have a pullback as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did. So let me just take a look at NVIDIA's done really well for me. It's been an amazing one that just to make passive income. Another great week. Look at that. Boom. Another just explosive week. These guys just don't seem to be slowing down. However, yeah, on the weekly, the NVIDIA tends to move roughly right now about 12, let's call it $13 a week. So what I'm looking at, what I'm thinking of doing here, let's take a look what we got on NVIDIA, what we got for NVIDIA here. July 18th. And hold on here. Yeah, that makes sense. About 165. If we were to go down 12, $13, it'd be 155, 152, about 150. So I can make roughly about 24 cents if I go down to the 150s. And let me just check the chart here. 150. It's not a bad area. Not a bad area from where they closed today. 164, 150s. That's $14 difference. So that'd be one to take a look at here. And again, same math. If I take that $1,000,000, again, I don't have $1,000,000 just sitting there. I've got a little bit of leverage on that. Got roughly about 300,000 sitting there, and then because of the leverage I'm allowed to get, it gives me about $1,000,000 of leverage. So I don't have $1,000,000 sitting there. I've got about 300 that I use for this strategy specifically. But at 150 per share, I could buy probably about 67 shares, or sorry, shares. I could buy about 67 contracts is what I could do here. And right now the 150s are trading at $24. Again, Monday will be a little bit different. At $24, that'd be a $1,600 a week. And basically, all I have to do to ensure I make that money is that NVIDIA does not come down below 150. If it comes down below 150, I will have to buy all those shares, which I'm okay owning NVIDIA. Actually, I'm owning $1,000,000 of NVIDIA, by the way. Let's just do this. Had you bought $1,000,000, I'm not suggesting anyone do it, but I'm just saying, let's just say I did get filled somewhere down here, which I never did. But had you bought $1,000,000 in NVIDIAs anywhere around this zone here, So let's pick there to Friday. You'd be up 46%. You'd be up almost $1.5 million in a matter of, call it 2 months, 2.5 months. You'd be up $500,000. That's not bad at all. Now, am I suggesting you do that? No, um, because we didn't know if this was going to happen. Now, I did have some money I did put into NVDA down here, which was really nice, but you're never guaranteed. You're never guaranteed to have that. So let's go back here to my chart. In fact, I'll show you this. This is where, boom, NVIDIA at 139 we got in, and we bought about 1,100 shares. And so we're up nicely on NVIDIA as well. Not too bad, $28,000. And that happened March, April sometime. Don't remember the exact day that happened. But anyways, that's where we are. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed that. Listen, cash flow is king. Cash flow trumps assets. Cash flow trumps, all the money you might have in investing that's going forward. I mean, that stuff's good. You still want that, but cash flow today is huge. And so the strategy I just showed you guys is one of the strategies I use to build wealth, or I should say not build wealth, but one of the strategies I use to give me weekly to monthly cash flow, as well as build wealth, and holding some of those stocks there. And so if you want to learn to do the same, maybe you're thinking, hey, how do I get passive? And I'll say this, there's nothing truly passive. Rental is not passive income. There's not, small business is not truly passive. Webinars aren't passive. There's always an amount of something you got to manage. It comes down to how much time do you have to manage whatever that thing you're hoping to be passive is going to be, or whatever that secondary income is going to be here. And this is what I found to be truly one of the easiest passive or close to passive strategies, meaning it takes me roughly, honestly, you just saw the video, like 16 minutes. It takes me 20 minutes once a week to get my trade set up. And then I check in couple minutes a day, and then usually midweek I'll maybe sell and get into another one to kind of boost the income for the rest of the week here. So this is like a 30-minute or less strategy to make income each and every week. So to me, it's one of the easiest and truly passive, almost passive ways out there to make money on a weekly cash flow basis here. And so maybe you're like, hey, you were thinking about getting into real estate, or you're thinking about like taking money and investing into a rental property. I mean, again, that's nothing wrong with that. But today, at today's prices, I'm not finding that to be a great passive strategy if you're looking to get cash flow every single month, which is what most people are looking to do. So if you're interested in learning this strategy, implementing this strategy, building wealth, and truly making your money work for you, come on, moneycoachmike.com. Reach out now, moneycoachmike.com/call. Let's hop on a call. Let's chat about what's working, what's not working, where you want to go, and how we can implement this strategy for you. Whether you've got like 10K, 30K, like you saw on my other account there, 100K, 200K, 500K, a million, whatever you got there, this strategy can work for you and really develop for you a passive income strategy that you have been looking for. Okay, so moneycoachmike.com/call. We'll see you next week.